Tonight on CTV News at 5.
It's a very important health issue, and we're very glad that it's being discussed.
Start them young. Pediatricians recommend screening 2 to 10-year-olds for high cholesterol.
Growing up in Whitney Pier on Tupper Street, Jonathan was always a community mentor, coach.
Lasting legacy, the first black RCMP officer from Cape Breton is remembered in Whitney Pier.
Being up there now, it is one of the most, it is the greatest feeling, honestly.
And problem solvers, the next generation puts their innovative ideas to the test.
And the temperature swings from cold to mild tomorrow, then back to cold by the start of next week.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Penopalis. Thank you for joining us. First at 5 tonight, cholesterol concerns. When you think about managing cholesterol, kids probably don't spring to mind, but a new recommendation from the Canadian Pediatric Society urges children as young as 2 to be screened. As CTV's Avery McCrae reports, identifying the condition early is key. Avery.
That's right, Maria. Plaque buildup in our arteries, like cholesterol, starts young and can lead to an increased risk of heart disease and stroke later in life. Simple changes to one's diet and activity level can help some, but not everyone, which is why the Society is raising the screening awareness. Around 1 in 300 people have high cholesterol caused by a genetic condition that is passed down from their parents.
The most common one is familial hypercholesterolemia, which is all to say that the patient's cholesterol levels are abnormal and put them at a higher risk for developing atherosclerosis.
Experts say universal screening through a blood test will help identify the condition early and begin treatment. Dr. Joel Cox is a pediatrician in Yarmouth and says the recommendation isn't new, but today's position statement shines an important light on the matter.
As part of our routine health screening, it's not necessarily something that everybody is being tested for. And I think that is one of the objectives of the position statement, is to try and encourage that discussion with families.
They recommend children 2 to 10 get screened. It's especially important for those who have genetic traits passed down to them that may promote higher cholesterol that a healthy diet and increased physical activity won't be able to combat. But Dr. Cox stresses the importance of a healthy diet.
We appreciate how the grocery bill is harder and harder to reconcile, but selecting foods that are made up of complex carbohydrates.
He says sometimes a person in seemingly good health can have issues later in life that began as a child because without the test, they would never know their cholesterol levels, and says some medications can have drastic positive impacts.
Will be tremendously helpful in reducing the risk and sometimes even reversing the establishment of that hardening of blood vessels, or that plaque formation that is the basis of atherosclerotic disease.
Dr. Cox adds, putting a child on medication like this at such a young age is a very personal decision, and tells patients to ask any questions they may have to their healthcare provider before beginning. Maria?
Thank you, Avery. CTV's Avery McCrae for us in St. John this evening. That brings us to tonight's web poll. We're asking, would you screen your child for high cholesterol? These are your options. Yes, it's a good preventative measure, or only if I had specific concerns. And your final option, no, I don't think it's necessary. Just go to ctvnewsatlantic.ca to weigh in and to see the latest poll results. All right, over to the anchor desk where Todd Battis is standing by with a look at the headlines.
Hi, Maria. Coming up at 6 o'clock, a controversial drop-in center in Bridgewater will close its doors. Complaints have mounted about Cedar Place, with the town's police reporting a 400% increase in calls to the center. Bridgewater's mayor says he's been asking for a year and a half now for something to change. We will have an update at the top of our newscast. The jury in the Jansen Baker murder trial is going back over audio recordings of 3 Crown witnesses. They were given their final instructions yesterday, but wanted to hear earlier testimony from the 8-week trial. We will get an update from Moncton Court. CTV's Derek Haggett at 6. Proposed budget cuts by the Nova Scotia government could mean more time at home for the province's sailing ambassador. Bluenose 2 has had its provincial grant cut by a certain percentage. Coming up at 6, we'll find out what that means for the travel schedule. Right now, let's take a look at what the forecast means for us. You've got current conditions behind you. Kalen Mitchell, started off a little chilly this morning.
Yeah, it did. And in general, today was a little bit chillier than it was yesterday, despite the fact that we had a good deal of sunshine across the region. If you're headed out early this evening, you're headed out to temperatures that are mostly a few degrees below the freezing mark, with some exceptions, especially around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia, where a number of locations are still holding on to some temperatures just on the plus side of the scale, talking about 2 or 3 degrees. Here's a look at the winds as we're making our way into the early evening. They're mostly out of the west. They're being sustained in a lot of cases between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. We're getting a few gusts reported between 30 and 40 kilometers per hour. Over on satellite and radar, there isn't a tremendous amount to show you here because today we've been underneath this ridge of high pressure, and that's kept conditions a little bit more on the clear side around the maritime region. Now, there is a little bit of increasing cloudiness coming in towards the northwest of New Brunswick, and that part of New Brunswick, northern western areas of the province, will get into some partly cloudy conditions for tonight. Tomorrow around the Maritimes, we're mostly expecting a mix of sun and cloud, but like today, it'll be cold first thing in the morning, though temperatures will recover in a lot of cases to climb up above 0 for the afternoon. We will take a look at that and, of course, the full weekend forecast when I'm back a little bit later on. Maria.
Thank you very much, Kalen. Time for our first break here on CTV News at 5. But first, a preview of a couple of the stories we're working on.
I'm Ryan McDonald in Whitney Pier, Nova Scotia, where this African Heritage Month, the memory of an RCMP officer, trailblazer, and community mentor is being remembered here in the pier where he grew up. The story is coming up.
I'm Brianne Foley outside the Zatzman Sportsplex in Dartmouth, where the Halifax Hoopers are going to tip off their second season. We have all those details of the Basketball League coming up tonight on CTV News at 5.
We're Give to Live. Our mission is to inspire you to live happy and healthy lives through generosity, fitness, and achieving the extraordinary. Join us and support our charities. Get inspired at givetolive.ca and achieve your extraordinary.
The fans of our franchise know that the experience is part of the movie, and to sort of save that experience and let everyone have it. You know, I remember when we did Scream 2, there was so much craziness around it. Everybody wanted to know who the killer was. We actually leaked several endings and several different scripts so that at least we confused everybody and no one knew what was what. And we had to do that with Scream 2, and we might have to go back to that.
That is Scream director and mastermind Kevin Williamson speaking to Your Morning Atlantic's Latavia Beezer about the iconic horror series and the next installment, which just hit theaters today. In Scream 7, Ghostface returns, and this time comes for the bloodline. It's hard to believe it's been 30 years since the original film came out. You can catch Latavia's full conversation with Kevin Williamson this Monday on YMA around 8:45 in the morning. Looking forward to that for sure. A story now about a young man from Whitney Pier who became the first black RCMP officer from Cape Breton. As CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us, Constable Jonathan Skeet's life may have been short, but his impact is long-lasting.
It's been nearly 40 years since he passed away, but Constable Jonathan Skeet's memory still looms large in his home community of Whitney Pier.
He was my big brother, and he was someone that I've always looked up to.
In 1981, Skeet graduated as an RCMP officer. With his first posting in Saskatchewan, he became the first black person from Cape Breton to wear the red serge. His brother Darcy says that was a big deal at a time when it could be difficult for people of color to advance in certain fields.
Not that we were oppressed, but, you know, there was this stigma that, you know, if you're black, you're only going to amount to certain arenas in life.
Growing up in Whitney Pier on Tupper Street, Jonathan was always a community mentor, coach.
Darren Desmond is manager of student services at the NSCC Sydney Waterfront campus, where a charcoal sketch of Skeet is on the wall in the school's community room. He says the future Mountie was like a big brother to younger people like himself in Whitney Pier.
Way ahead of his time. You know, you hear these buzzwords that are out there now around community development. I mean, Jonathan was doing community development before it was titled community development.
And they do it every summer. I think it's in August, the Jonathan Skeet Fun Run.
Skeet is also remembered for his involvement in athletics, including at Dalhousie University, where he excelled in intramural sports. He died of cancer in 1987 at the young age of 34, but sports history writer Paul McDougall says he packed a lot of achievements into those years.
Jonathan did so much more than many other people would ever accomplish in the shorter time he had, and we still remember him for that.
Skeet's brother says that his legacy can be summed up simply.
Someone that inspired us to be the best that we can be, to try hard and to work hard, to be a better person.
A trailblazer and mentor who is still remembered at home where his story started. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Whitney Pier, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you to the family for speaking with us. I mean, what a legacy. In 34 years to cram so many accomplishments and so much impact. It's really a lovely story. Kaylin Mitchell joins us once again, and we're all wondering, what's the weekend got for us?
Yeah, what'd you think about the sunshine today? It was nice to see.
I loved it. It was beautiful.
Absolutely. I mean, temperatures, for the most part, were a little bit chillier than yesterday, but if you were out in the sun and sheltered from the breeze that was around, it felt pretty nice. We're looking at a very nice scene here. This is in Cape Breton. This is shot from the waterfall inside Rotary Park in Sydney. More on the weather coming up next.
Dr. Jay Snyderman and his team at Dartmouth General Hospital have broken their own record and completed 8 hip replacement surgeries in a single operating room in a single day. In December, the orthopedic team became one of the first in Canada to complete 7 hip replacement surgeries in a single operating room in one day. So they just keep on upping themselves. Congratulations to Dr. Snyderman and the entire team. Wow, effectiveness in motion there, hey? Outstanding, Kaylin.
Well, now I want to set a record.
Yeah.
maybe most snowstorms forecast for the month of March. What do you think?
I don't know if
No?
I don't know if I want to get on board with that one.
All right.
How about most no snowstorms in the month of March?
Now we're talking.
Least amount of snowstorms.
Well, let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset times. And for that, we're going to go to the beautiful eastern passage of Nova Scotia, especially beautiful on a day like this, where underneath high pressure, we did have a lot of sunshine. So blue skies and the water there. I mean, if it wasn't for the time of the year and for that wind you can hear blowing, you might have even thought looking at that scene, it would have been a warmer day. Taking a look at our current conditions around the Maritimes, we are underneath a little ridge of high pressure. So high pressure for all 3 maritime provinces. That ridge is extending up from the northeastern seaboard of the United States. Behind that, there is a low pressure system that's making its way towards the Great Lakes. We don't really have to be too concerned with that weather system at this point in time. Taking a look at things on radar right now, you can see that not much is showing up, though there is evidence of a few flurries back through parts of Maine as well as around the St. Lawrence River Valley and through Quebec. And as we take a look at our forecast timeline, there's not a lot that's going to be showing up here as we make our way through this evening and tonight. There will be some increase in cloudiness in western areas of New Brunswick, but looking at fairly clear conditions tonight for both Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Now, it is going to be a cold night for all 3 maritime provinces, so likewise, it's going to be a cold start to the day for Saturday. In the forecast for Saturday around the region, we have mostly sunny skies for both Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, and a mix of sun and cloud for New Brunswick with a chance of flurries in the northwest of that province. There, they may even be mixed in with a few showers. Winds in the forecast for tonight and for tomorrow, well, they'll remain mostly out of the west, and for Saturday, the wind direction changes. Moving into the afternoon, winds will become southerly, and they'll be sustained up between around 30 and 40 kilometers per hour, with some gusts as high as 40 to 60 kilometers per hour in the region. So it is going to be more of a blustery day for tomorrow, though that change to southerly winds is also going to boost temperatures up from the morning into the afternoon. So here's a look at the low temperatures in the forecast for tonight. For the province of New Brunswick, they're mostly falling into a range of -10 to -16, down to around -8 for Grand Manan. For Charlottetown and Summerside and Prince Edward Island tonight, the low temperatures of around -14. And for Nova Scotia, away from the coastline, most of the low temperatures tonight will be falling into a range around -8 to -12. On parts of the coast, the lows will be around -6 to -8. In the forecast for tomorrow, though, as we get into those windier conditions in the afternoon, but again, those winds up from the south, the temperatures around the Maritimes get bumped up for the most part onto the plus side of the scale, including some high temperatures tomorrow for New Brunswick that could close in around the mid-single digits for some communities, including near 5 for Bathurst, Miramichi, and St. Stephen. Fredericton not too far behind at 4 degrees. Charlottetown, Summerside for tomorrow expected to get just over onto the plus side of the scale. And for Nova Scotia, most communities as well with high temperatures between 1 and 5 degrees. Sydney a little bit chillier with a high near 0. Now that changes on Sunday, because on Sunday we've got a cold front that's coming across the Maritimes. It'll bring cloudier conditions with it, a mixture of some flurries and some showers, and a turnover to colder northwest winds. It is northern New Brunswick that gets onto the colder side of that front first, which is why daytime temperatures there, -7 to -11. Other parts of the Maritimes still fairly mild during the first part of the day, but temperatures get much colder Sunday night into Monday morning. All right, let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from Aubrey Guptill from McAdam, New Brunswick. Aubrey has sent us a drawing of a very colorful rainbow arcing across the day, featuring some cloud and blue sky, a lot like the blue sky we had today. So thank you, Aubrey. And weather watchers can come into CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4, or email kalen.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. Maria.
Thank you very much, Kaylin. So it's back to the hard court this weekend as 3 Maritime teams tip off their home openers in the Basketball League. As CTV's Brianne Foley reports, there's lots to be excited about as the season gets rolling.
Tip-off is a day away from a new season, and the Halifax Hoopers are ready for year 2.
I love Halifax. The community is just a beautiful place to be in. The team was wonderful last year. The owner was welcoming back, so I was happy to come back.
Basically, I was watching since last year. Certain players like Tone and all of them, just seeing how they play and how I like to play. I said, you know what, that's something I probably can see myself at. And the next thing I know, I got the call and whatnot, and I said, I can't turn it down.
The Hoopers come into their second season off a playoff loss, but also lessons.
Not to sweat the small stuff. Things are going to happen that's just out of our control, and we have to just keep rolling, and we have to keep a positive mindset, and we just have to keep moving.
Continuing to grow the game of basketball across Atlantic Canada is the key, and it's not just the Halifax Hoopers that are excited for their second season in the Basketball League.
We've been working a lot with youth organizations since last year, getting involved in the community, and I think the community is really enjoying what we're bringing to the court.
I've only been here for a week, but yeah, we've gotten into the community, and it's just really cool to be on the other side of it, because I remember being in that position as a kid and then seeing pro basketball players. So.
As for the product you can expect from both Halifax and Moncton on the court, the energy from the new players speaks for itself.
Yeah, just the overall vibe and energy that our team has. We're all excited for what we could do.
This same energy, you know, and basically at our practice, we're big on IQ and just learning each other and learning how everybody plays.
Both home openers are Saturday at 7 p.m. The Hoopers host the Newfoundland Rogues at the Zatzman Sportsplex, and the Tide tip off against St. John's Port City Power at Crandall University. Brianne Foley, CTV News, Dartmouth.
Thank you, Brianne. A lot of basketball fans really excited. All right, taking a break, but first some music. We close out our African Heritage Month music spotlight with Nova Scotia blues mainstay, the Carson Downey Band. Hailing from North Preston, the band has spent decades keeping the blues alive on stages across the Maritimes and beyond. Here's a look at the Carson Downey Band performing at the 26th ANSMA Awards. Take a look. The laughs kept on coming at Laughability 2026 last night. The hilarious event is in support of the Dartmouth Adult Services Centre, or DASC. The Feel Good fundraiser featured comedians with disabilities and incredible lineup of talent. Organizers say the support was phenomenal.
We're very thankful and appreciative of the nearly 300 people who have come here tonight at the West of Nova Scotia to have a good laugh, and to have a good laugh in support of our life-changing programs for individuals with intellectual disabilities.
Our very own Emma Convey emceed the program, and we know that she had a great time, and from what we've heard, everybody did. Well done, everyone. Until next year. All right, on to our final story of the evening. Post-secondary students from across Atlantic Canada went head-to-head today. As CTV's Vanessa Wright reports, the next generation of entrepreneurs presented their innovative ideas.
Some of tomorrow's brightest entrepreneurs are in this room, taking center stage to share ideas they've spent countless hours creating.
The first time I did this, I was super nervous. I honestly don't even remember the day. It was so hectic. But being up there now, it is one of the most, it is the greatest feeling, honestly.
The 2026 Enactus Atlantic Canada Exposition brings together post-secondary students to pitch projects they believe can address today's economic, social, and environmental challenges. One of the ideas competing today is CapCycle,
which is a project where we recycle and reuse used plastic bottle caps, and we repurpose them into beautiful products.
250 students are participating this year. Their ideas will be judged by local business leaders. Enactus President Catherine Fowler says it may be a competition, but it's really about collaboration.
It's an opportunity for all these students from this area, all of the Atlantic provinces, to come together and actually exchange ideas and see what the other students are doing that might be similar to them and how they might learn from one another.
And she says the new ideas get more impressive every year.
You come to one of these competitions and you see these young people just taking all of these wonderful, meaningful risks and leadership opportunities and learning to work with one another in person and really do creative and wonderful things for their community that has a positive impact is deeply inspiring.
The winning team will receive funding to further their project and earn a spot representing Atlantic Canada at the National Exposition in Montreal.
A lot of teams are working on similar problems, but we're all taking a different approach, which is really beautiful. It shows there's not one solution to the world's biggest problems.
Today, they're just students, but tomorrow, they hope to be much more. Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Vanessa, and congratulations to everyone who made it even that far.
Yeah.
It's so impressive.
And to
awesome.
Those who will be moving on to Montreal, we're rooting for you.
We sure are. And we're rooting for a good weekend.
Yeah, well, you know what? As is, typical as we make our way towards the start of spring, which is a transition season, a little bit of a temperature roller coaster coming up over the next couple of days, even into the start of March. So when I come up on CTV News at 6, we'll take a look through that weekend forecast, and we'll talk about those ups and downs in temperatures headed our way.
Well, we'll see you and Todd at 6 o'clock for more on that. I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. The national news is next. Good night.